Now, after 5 months, journalist and human rights activist Agba Jalingo is now free from detention. He has been granted bail in the sum of 10 million naira by the Federal High Court in Calabar after an application by his lawyer, which was earlier denied twice. Justice Sule Shuaibu asked those standing as his surety to make a refundable deposit of 700,000 naira to perfect the bail. Agba Jalingo was arrested in August 2019 over a report alleging that the governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, had diverted 500 million naira. The publisher of Cross River Watch was subsequently arraigned on treason and terrorism charges, a move that has sparked criticism from activists and rights groups. Well, I still have with me to discuss this further Monday Ubani, lawyer and a former vice chairman, Nigerian Bar Association. And on Skype, I still have Alfred Kemekbado, political analyst and Secretary General, Ijuo Youth Council. But let me begin with you now, Monday. We've seen the developments so far, and of course, it generated so much mixed reactions. And finally, he's been freed from detention. What do you make of this, especially as it concerns press freedom?
Well, he's not free from the trouble. He's only free on the fact that he has been granted bail. The trial, will continue on those allegations, treasonable felony and all manner of charges that were filed against him for either attempting to criticize the governor and ask for proper accountability in governance. So I think that journalists actually in Nigeria have become an endangered species. We have autocrats all over the country that parade themselves as governors and then government officials. They don't like anyone to criticize them. They get so upset if you ask for accountability in governance, which I know is very critical, because if you become a leader, then the issue of accountability becomes implicit. You have to really give account to the people, and when people query, you have to give an explanation. And what brought Agba Jalingo to this umpire was because of a particular report on his Facebook page where he was alleging that the governor used 500 million naira that belonged to the citizens of Cross River to float a microfinance bank that was never functional. And so he's asking what has happened to that money. Several other projects. This is a man that will say he's running a budget and you can't even pronounce the budget. The people can't even pronounce the word and all that. So he's asking certain questions about governance there. That the man is not seriously, fulfilling all the promises he made to the people, and that became his albatross. So the next thing they did was to come all the way from Cross River with Nigerian police and arrested him, dragged him all the way from here on road to, through the road. 2 or 3 days they spent on the road before eventually they got to Calabar. The next thing is all those charges. When the voices started, became louder, the next thing that they now joined that he wants to overthrow the federal government of Nigeria too. That's how the federal government came into the thing. But funny enough, it is not the DSS or any federal, apart from Nigerian police, that is actually prosecuting. But now, Cross River State Government Ministry of Justice has taken over the case. And I'm so happy that after all this detention, an illegal detention for 140-something days, Agba Jalingo has been granted bail. And then I'm also querying some of these, the condition, 700,000 naira cash and all that. But the most important thing is that I feel that those conditions will be fulfilled and he will be out from that detention and then come and face the trial. We are ready for them to bring the evidence they have, for treasonable felony and all that they have against him.
Now, if this is the case with press freedom in a democratic society like Nigeria, what then is the hope of the further state of the realm? Well,
the journalists, they have a constitutional role to fulfill. If you look at the 1999 Constitution as amended, they have been given big role to hold government accountable. They also have been given a role to ensure that they disseminate news about governance, generally to the people. The freedom of expression is also key, part of the constitutional right or human right provision that is in the Constitution. So no matter how they are being suppressed, one will advise that the Nigerian journalists should be very courageous enough to ensure that they fulfill the constitutional role that has been actually given to them by the Constitution. They should not in any way be afraid, to carry out their responsibility. We have this autocracy, we have this issue of trying to suppress the press all over the world, even in American society, but the press over there are also very bold enough and courageous enough to ensure that they are not in any way cowed. So I would advise Nigerian journalists to ensure that they have a duty and responsibility to ensure that they disseminate information to the Nigerian people, and that role is given to them by the Constitution. No government, no governor, who I know is temporal, will ever cow them from doing that duty, because the state surpasses and survives any government in Nigeria, anywhere in the world.
Now, Alfred, what do you make of this unfolding scenario, which involves press freedom, and do you see this affecting the role of the press in the society?
Yeah, it does affect the role of the press in the society negatively. But however, one of the things I know that press freedom, however you want to call it, describe it, has limits and has ethics and values that must be protected. So I think the boundaries of the freedom should be respected by the practitioners in that field. But furthermore, I just want to talk to the political class. You see, when you get into a political office, sycophancy most times becomes the order of the day. Everybody wants to tell you that you are doing right even when you are doing so wrong and so bad. So the politicians and the political, especially governors and other people, heads of MDAs, should always take advantage of the press to understand where they are going wrong and not intimidate the press. You know, there is this issue of a single story. So if you stay in your office and you hear all the good stories, you may not really know where you are going wrong and where you are doing bad. And it may be regrettable for you to realize how wrong you may have gone when you leave office. So the politicians, political class, and heads of the MDAs and governors, presidents, should not view press as their enemies, but see them as partners that can tell them the other side of the stories that they will not be able to hear from their direct aides, which is usually the case. So my appeal, finally, is for them to give room. This kind of persecution that Agba Jalingo is going through is not called for. But I've also heard the Cross River State Governor give a different version from what my friend in the studio there is already giving. The Cross River State Governor was giving a version of how Agba Jalingo's travails as things close to a treasonable offense, how he made publications against, offenses against the federal government. But that's not the point. The point is the press must be given the freedom to operate. That is why one of the bills I so dislike and I wish never sees the light of the day is all of these bills the National Assembly is banning. This is hate speech. You are going to 7 years in jail, trying to gag the press and other things. Yes, I agree that there are a whole lot of things out there in the social media or even in the media that are uncalled for. But the truth is, you can regulate them because the amount of good stuffs that we get daily, weekly, hourly, if not per minute from the media is much more worthy than the benefits we'll get from gagging them. So I think the press should be given, should be viewed as partners in progress by political office holders. All
right, and that's a fine place to leave it right now. Monday Ubani, final thoughts on this?
Well, I think even with the issue of hate speech, my brother in Abuja has alluded to, there are enough laws in our books, that can take care of any infraction on the part of journalists. They must actually be responsible for some of the errors they commit. But I think that they have enough laws to deal with them. Making more laws and then trying to gag or trying to intimidate Nigerian press will be the worst any government can enter into. You can never win any war against Nigerian press. They have always been there.
Thank you very much, Monday Ubani, lawyer and former NBA chairman. And as well, I'd like to thank my guests on Skype, Alfred Kemekbajo. It's a pleasure to have you both on the program tonight. And that's all for this episode of Newsweek. Remember, you can follow us on our social media platforms for updates. We're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram using the handle at TVCNewsNG. You can also get details of all the stories we're reporting on our website, tvcnews.tv. To the next one again, I am Esther Mokbariola.